One thing we never really wish is to see someone screw up so bad that their entire career could end up potentially ruined. So cringeworthy. Well, that didn't go as planned. Many celebs' careers have been destroyed by mistakes. Celeb Lounge. Welcome back to our channel Celeb Lounge. Here are 10 examples of celebrities who ruined their own careers, often at the height of their popularity. So, let's start our video. Number 10, Mark Salling. You definitely would not be alone if one of your favorite actors on the television series Glee was Noah Puckerman, who was portrayed by Mark Salling. Appearing in 4 seasons, it definitely was a great start to Salling's career. Then the legal problems started piling in that completely derailed everything. First, he was accused of assaulting a woman and forcing her to have unprotected sex, but the course was settled outside of court. Much more seriously, in 2015 Salling was arrested after more than 1,000 photos and videos of child pornography were suspected of being on his computer. Not long after that, he was fired from his role on Adi Shankar's Gods and Secrets, which is set to come out in 2017 and stars Denise Richards and R.J. Mitte, or as you may know him, Flynn from Breaking Bad. Number 9, Amanda Bynes. Amanda Bynes was already starting to get a reputation for her partying ways, but back on April 4, 2012 it all became public knowledge when she was arrested after driving under the influence and hitting a police car. Yikes. Bynes also got herself in several hit-and-run situations throughout the year, including deciding that driving with a suspended license was a fun thing to do. Check this out.
I'm not who you think I am.
Okay, Amanda, yeah, we already seen your face, Amanda.
You think you just in court though,
I think you changed your hair color, but we know, she just hit your car. She just hit your car. We didn't make her do anything.
That same year she announced her retirement from acting, making it clear she has had enough of the public spotlight. Not telling on if anyone informed her, though, that just because you're no longer trying to be famous doesn't mean that the general public has forgotten about you. So if Bynes finds herself in cuffs again in the future, you can imagine you'll hear about it. Bynes was arrested for a second DUI in 2014, which led to being placed on a temporary psychiatric hold and hospitalization, and all but put the nail in the coffin for this former child star. Number 8, Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson was once one of the biggest Hollywood stars, commanding per movie salaries that still rival some of today's biggest deals. He earned over $20 million in 1998 for Lethal Weapon 4 and later directed the controversial blockbuster The Passion of the Christ. But a history of alcohol issues eventually caught up with him in the mid-2000s when a particularly offensive rant was recorded during a DUI stop, which included anti-Semitic and sexist remarks. Check this out.
Yes.
Stay on this phone and don't hang up on me. I have plenty of energy to drive over there. You understand me? And I will! So just fucking listen to me. Listen to my fucking ranting. Listen to what you do to me.
I didn't do anything to you.
A pain in the ass.
You are ruining my life.
You make my life so fucking difficult.
Well, you know what? It's
To be a woman that fucking supports me instead of a woman that sucks off me. And just fucking sucks me dry. And once.
4 years later, as his career was beginning to recover slightly, another Gibson recording appeared online. This included another round of offensive, racist remarks, all aimed aggressively at his ex-wife. His talent agency, William Morris Endeavor, immediately dropped him following the tape's release, leaving Gibson's career appearing unsalvageable. That being said, he seems to be experiencing a bit of a comeback this year, having directed the critically acclaimed war drama, Hacksaw Ridge. Number 7, Brian Williams. Oh, Brian Williams, how could you betray us in such a horrible fashion? We loved you oh so desperately when you would facetiously make fun of yourself and others with Jimmy Fallon, not to mention the late-night mashups that the comedian would do with the stern-faced news anchor and Sir Mix-a-Lot. So what gives? Back in 2015, it was reported that Williams had embellished, on the air, a story about his coverage of the Iraq invasion back in 2003. NBC launched an investigation into the matter and discovered that the veteran newsman had, in fact, lied about the story. So then they suspended him and dug deeper into all the stories he's told on the air over the years and discovered that 3 of his stories he's told on the air were also exaggerations. Williams' star seemed to plummet into the cold ground at a speedy pace. It's been 2 years and Williams still has yet to get his career back on the right path. Number 6. Ian Watkins. Ian Watkins could have had a promising career as a musician. His band, Lost Prophets, which was founded in 1997, was able to release 5 studio albums before Watkins was arrested. One thing that'll derail your career though? Getting arrested on charges of attempted rape and sexual assault on children. Watkins pleaded guilty to 3 different charges that were related to possessing, taking or making indecent photos of children and one image of extreme bestiality. In one of the more stomach-churning moments of the trial, an SMS was read out that said, "If you belong to me, so does your baby," referring to the victim's baby son. Watkins was sentenced to 29 years in jail. Number 5. Paul Reubens. Paul Reubens' Pee Wee persona was firmly embedded in pop culture before a 1991 arrest of the star for masturbating in an adult theater put the brakes on Reubens' career. While his morning show, Pee Wee's Playhouse, was already done at the time. The arrest influenced CBS's decision to remove reruns of the series while igniting a media storm over his association with children's programming. For most of the 90s, Reubens avoided the public eye until he began to appear in films and television again in 1999. A pornography arrest in 2002 again threatened to derail his career but was later brought down to a lesser charge. In recent years, he has finally started to reach the popularity he once had in the 80s, including starring in the Netflix original film, Pee-wee's Big Holiday. Number 4. Iggy Azalea. The world seems to adore Iggy Azalea and her off-the-wall ways at her concerts. She simply just loves life and her fan base. She also knows that, well, anything can happen on live TV. Back in 2014, the pop singer agreed to do a live performance on the finale of the reality TV show Dancing with the Stars. The rapper was supposed to perform her hit Fancy, but ran into some embarrassing trouble when her earpiece simply stopped working right at the beginning of the piece. "I'm so sorry, but there's something wrong with my ears," she told the audience, completely halting the performance. Her dancers didn't know what to do, so they swayed awkwardly. She suddenly then ripped her entire earpiece out and went on without it, which was a little impressive. Check this out.
Like I'm giving lessons in physics and you should want it. I'm so sorry, but there's something wrong with my ears. Like this.
But the damage was done and Iggy was mortified afterward. It might not have murdered her career, but it certainly stabbed it a little. Number 3. Jennifer Grey. Jennifer Grey's Hollywood story illuminates the shallower side of the industry. Starting in the mid-80s, Grey was fast becoming one of Hollywood's rising stars with memorable turns in Red Dawn, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Dirty Dancing. The latter of which scored her a Golden Globe nomination for Best Performance by an Actress. But in the early 90s, Grey underwent rhinoplasty, a nose job, and her career was affected overnight. Describing the experience, Grey explained, "I went in the operating room a celebrity and came out anonymous." She added, "It was like being in a witness protection program or being invisible." While Grey has continued to work consistently in the decades since, all the momentum she built up in the 80s went up in smoke. It was the nose job from hell. "I'll always be this once famous actress nobody recognizes because of a nose job," Grey said. Number 2. Charlie Sheen. Drugs, overdoses, and violence. By all accounts, the recent downfall of Charlie Sheen feels like it should have happened 2 decades ago. Sheen's history of unapologetic partying and drug use has led to at least 1 overdose and multiple rehab stay. But it was his behavior as the lead of 2.5 Men that ultimately destroyed his Hollywood career. Following another stint in rehab, 2.5 Men creator Chuck Lorre finally had enough when he fired Sheen from the show. What resulted was a meltdown of epic proportions on the part of Sheen, although it can be hard to tell, in which he aimed some anti-Semitic remarks Lorre's way and did a series of bizarre interviews. Number 1. Janet Jackson. This is arguably the biggest career-ending fracas in live TV history. You all know the story. Jackson and Justin Timberlake were performing at Super Bowl 38 when Justin ripped away from her costume and revealed her breast. This was certainly not Jackson's fault, but everyone acted like it was. See the video. Hollywood all but disowned her and pretended that she never existed, and her subsequent album and singles were blacklisted from the radio. Even mega conglomerates got in on the boycott, with an executive at Viacom stating that the higher-ups are still pissed at her. Luckily, the heat has since died down. And Jackson was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2019. So, these are the top 10 stars who ruined their career at height of their popularity.